Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for inviting me to come to speak here. So my name is Michelle Atias, and as you just said, I'm a mindset expert, I'm a coach, I'm an international speaker, and I'm an author. Previous to this time, I was a registered and accredited therapist and clinical supervisor. I actually feel quite uncomfortable calling myself a mindset expert when I'm in the company of such amazing professionals, such an amazing group of mental health professionals. But here's the truth. In this room, I'm the biggest expert there is on one person's mindset, and that's my own. When I work with my clients, what I do is I teach them to become the biggest experts on their own mindset. Now, I have no doubt that you're going to have the most amazing PowerPoint presentations, research, just all sorts of information for the next couple of days. But I want to offer you something a little different. Because you're probably asking yourself, why would a therapist become a coach? I mean, I was an accredited and registered therapist for many, many years. I was also a clinical supervisor. So this would have been a question that would have completely baffled me 10 years ago. So let me backtrack to 2012. I'd been a therapist for about 10 years at the time. I was working with clients who were anxious, depressed, abused, addicted, suicidal, and bereaved. I had also been a clinical supervisor for 7 years. I had been clinically supervising the caseloads of over 60 therapists. I'd worked with families, children, teenagers, adults, all from different backgrounds and cultures, refugees, the wealthy, the poor. There was not a sector that I hadn't worked with. No one could say I didn't have a great knowledge of the mind or how life worked. I actually spent my days analyzing people, analyzing their lives, finding them better solutions, going back to the past and trying to release them from trauma. But here was the truth. My personal life was falling apart. I could be an expert on everybody's life except my own. The total opposite to where I am today. This is it. We deal with our clients' personal lives, with their difficulties, with their issues. But what happens when we have our own issues? What happens when our own life falls apart? At the time, I was getting divorced. It was pretty traumatic. I'd lost my home in the process. I was attempting to find some secure way of bringing up my daughters. I really believed I'd lost my status in the community. I was now a divorcee. And everything really that defined me, owning a house, property, marriage, friendships, all that had padded my life, began to dissolve away. I felt really at the time that I had nothing to cling on to, nothing I could hide behind anymore. At the time, I was back in my hometown, Gibraltar, because although I'm based in the UK, I'm originally from the south of Spain, so a place called Gibraltar. And I was there, and a friend of mine approached me. And she asked me a very basic question. She said, well, Michelle, you're going through a pretty difficult time, but surely of all the people here, you can totally navigate through. I mean, you're in the mental health world. I stared at her with nothing to say. That was my first light bulb moment. You see, I'd worked with most orientations, person-centered, psychodynamic, psychoanalytic, systemic, transpersonal, transactional analysis. I'd spent more than 10 years with a great therapist. I'd consumed copious amounts of information, workshops, diplomas, but I was completely lost. The only place I hadn't really gone into was truly inside me. Truly inside, with no judgment, no analyzing, no blaming, no expectation, fully meeting me in person, with nothing getting in the way. It was actually a journey of being rather than doing. I started off with the element of curiosity. And this is the element that we all have as professionals. We get curious about our clients' lives. How was their day? How was their week? How